Clearly, I possess a heaven-defying ability to exchange lifespan for unparalleled cultivation. But fate had me transmigrate into the body of a low-level cultivator with only 2 years of life left. To defy fate and change my destiny, I married 4 mortal wives within just 1 year, and quickly fathered 3 children one after another. It was only on my wedding night that I suddenly discovered my cultivation had actually skyrocketed by 3 levels. So every day I was either taking a new wife or on my way to welcome another child. And today is the annual cultivation retest day for the servant district at the foot of the mountain. For all servant disciples under the age of 19, this day is of utmost importance. As long as you reach the 4th level of key refining before 19, you can leave the servant district and become an outer sect disciple. That's where true cultivation toward immortality begins. Soon it was my turn to take the test. I stepped forward, placing my palm lightly on the spirit testing orb. I channeled the spiritual energy within me, and the orb began to hum. 3 faint rays of light appeared. The outer sect disciple shook his head and made a note in his jade slip. Lin Bei, Key Refining Level 3, 18 years old. Miscellaneous Grade 5 Element Spiritual Root. Eliminated. The voice wasn't loud, yet it echoed clearly all around. Instantly, discussions and mocking laughter broke out. Told you so. That Lin Bei kid is still at Level 3 Key Refining. He won't qualify to join the outer sect from now on. With such poor aptitude, even his parents' help couldn't do more than this. A dragon has a dragon for a child. A phoenix has a phoenix. The child of a mouse is destined to be just a mouse. Following the sound, I looked over and saw a burly man in coarse clothes, glaring at me with a mocking expression. I ignored him, turned around and headed out of the line. With so many people around, everyone's watching, I didn't want to cause trouble. As for Fang Da, his cultivation is already at mid-stage key refining, so I could only endure it. I cared even less about what others said. After so many years, I'd gotten used to it. Tomorrow I'll be 19. My cultivation only broke through 2 years ago. Level 3 key refining at best only qualifies me as a menial laborer. No other path possible. I stood at the edge of the crowd, looking around with a complicated expression, taking in everything around me. Hearing Kingling Immortal Sect, awakening with a miscellaneous or low-grade spiritual root, doomed you to start out as a servant. Detecting intense emotional fluctuation in host. Many children much fortune system binding. Before I could even think it through, a crisp, caustic voice reached my ears. Lin Bei, you're still only at Level 3 Key Refining. I looked up and saw my childhood friend Li Hanyan strutting toward me, full of pride. I forced a slight smile. Congratulations, you must be in the outer sect now, right? Of course. I trained in seclusion for over a year, just to break through to Level 4 Key Refining. I'm definitely passing today's retest. While saying congratulations, I still had a hint of envy inside. Having a good father really makes a difference. Before she began her seclusion last year, Uncle Lee used the contribution points he'd saved for years to get her a condensing key pill. Since that's the case, let's call off our childhood engagement. From today, I am an outer sect disciple. My future is destined to shine bright on the path of immortality. From now on, we have nothing to do with each other. With that, she turned and walked away. I was left standing there in a daze, as mockery and discussions rolled in from all sides, drowning me like a tidal wave. System binding successful. The next second, a jolt of electricity shot through my body, and I lost consciousness. In a blur, I felt myself awaken to the system. Not until the next day did someone finally wake me up. I gradually saw a young woman before me and rubbed my eyes hard. Brother Lin Bei, my father asked me to wake you up for breakfast. Her face was shy and bashful, and with that she hurriedly turned to leave. While I was still in a daze, the system's voice rang out again. The Many Children Much Fortune system has been officially activated. Congratulations to the host for receiving a new player's gift pack. My whole body trembled, and I pinched my thigh with all my strength. The pain was real. This isn't a dream. Congratulations, host. System successfully activated. Your storage will grow as your cultivation increases. Congratulations, host. You've acquired the golden kidney. You now possess stamina far beyond normal people. Within a certain number of times, you are sure to help your partner conceive. Random system features were also uploaded to my mind at the same time. Many children, much fortune system. The more children you have, the greater your fortune. As long as you take a wife or father a child, you can trigger a system achievement and receive a chance at the lottery. Your children's talent and cultivation can also be added to yours. After understanding all the features, I didn't dare delay. I got up immediately. Uncle Mu is still waiting for me to have breakfast in the courtyard. Uncle Mu's full name is Mu Tiking. He's been in the servitude district for decades and was good friends with my father. He finally had a daughter in his old age, whom he named Mu Xinyu. She was the one who just woke me up. She's a mortal without a spiritual root. Uncle Mu looked at me, a trace of understanding and sympathy flashing in his cloudy eyes. I quietly walked into the courtyard. Mu Xinyu was at the stone table scooping spirit rice for me. Seeing me come over, she smiled gently. Looking at the gentle and lovely Mu Xinyu, my heart, wounded yesterday by Li Hanyan, began to feel a hint of warmth again. Mu Tiking sighed softly and pulled me to sit down. What Hanyan said yesterday, don't take it to heart. Maybe she was just swept up in the status of being an outer sect disciple and lost herself for a while. That's all. It's all right, Uncle Mu. I'm not so easy to defeat. That's really how I felt. After all, I'm from Blue Star. I've seen all sorts of melodramatic storylines. All that pain yesterday was just the side effect of the system loading. From now on, Li Hanyan is nothing to me. Mu Tiking looked at me in doubt, hesitated for a moment, then seemed to make up his mind. He glanced at Mu Xinyu, then looked back at me. Zhao Bei. Today should be your birthday, right? You're an adult now. I'd like to betroth Xinyu to you. What do you think? I was stunned, snapping my head up to look at him. Mu Xinyu's delicate face was tinged with embarrassment. I was overwhelmed with emotion. But soon, without hesitation, I stood up and bowed deeply to Mu Tiking. Thank you, Uncle Mu. I'm willing to take Xinyu as my wife, and I will never let her down in this life. A gratified smile appeared on Mu Tiking's face. Mu Xinyu lowered her head even further, but couldn't keep from smiling faintly. 3 days later, a simple wedding was held in the courtyard my father left me. Only Uncle Mu Xinyu and I were there. I wore a clean blue cotton robe, while Mu Xinyu wore a brand new red dress. Facing the heavens and earth, I bowed 3 times to the wooden comb. The moment the ceremony was complete, a cold mechanical voice suddenly rang out. Congratulations, host, on winning your partner's reward for the first time. You have earned 1 chance at the prize draw. Soon after, at dawn the next day, I got up promptly, got dressed neatly. The first thing I did was call out the system. System, I want to do the lottery. Instantly, a roulette wheel that only I could see appeared in front of my eyes. The wheel was divided into 6 parts. Areas, techniques, beast taming, pills, treasures, memories, others. I quickly calmed my mind and started the prize draw. The wheel and pointer began to spin. After about 3 seconds, the pointer stopped at the memory section. Congratulations, host, you have obtained a Tier 2 top-tier talisman crafting memory. I didn't have time to be excited yet, when a torrent of unfamiliar information was forced into my mind out of thin air. In an instant, that talisman knowledge felt as natural to me as if I'd been born with it. This is a talisman crafting inheritance. Along with alchemy, formations, and artifact refinement, it's called the 4 pillars of the immortal realm. Very few in the entire Kingling immortal sect have mastered this. Besides, I have a Tier 2 top-tier talismanic inheritance. I let out a breath, forced myself to calm down, An ordinary man who holds a treasure is always at risk. As a mere ordinary servant disciple, if I recklessly reveal I can craft talismans, I'll only invite disaster. I must not be hasty. I need to take things slow. I now had a rough idea of my path. Soon after, I got up and left the house. Went to the servant registration office to help Mu Xingyu register as my partner. In Qingling Immortal Sect, servant disciples are allowed to marry and have children. But only one spouse can be exempt from taxes. And one child without spiritual roots can get a tax exemption slot. As a servant disciple like me, living at the foot of the mountain, at least I'm within Qingyu Mountain's territory, and can enjoy the sect's spiritual veins, which is very beneficial for cultivation. Plus, there's no need to pay taxes. But for daily needs and even cultivation resources, I have to earn everything myself. Because of that, there are several marketplaces for servants. Spells, even immortal inheritances and cultivation techniques, can only be exchanged at the management office for sect contribution points. Walking on the path, I thought to myself, since I awakened the blessed offspring system, I should marry more wives and have more children, and build a family to maximize the system's power. But to marry freely within the servant district is almost impossible. Except for the first spouse's tax exemption, each additional partner means exponentially more taxes. Of course, once I reveal my status as a Tier 2 top-tier talisman master, making money will be much faster. But that's a process I need to take slowly. As for leaving Qingling Sect to establish a family in Qingyun City, that's simply out of the question. With my third level of key refining, I'd be weak and insignificant anywhere else. Fortunately, I have the system. All I need to do is survive in Qingling Sect until I have the power to protect myself, then decide whether or not to leave the sect. And found an immortal cultivation family. Time passed by quickly. In a flash, a month had gone by. Mu Xingyu was now smoothly pregnant with my first child. And I was about to start crafting talismans. After so many years cultivating, I'd also saved up some contribution points. I soon arrived at the servant management office. Greetings, esteemed official. This disciple wishes to learn talisman crafting, so I want to use my points to exchange for Tier 1 low-grade talisman inheritance. Do you know how difficult learning to make talismans is? Especially for someone like you without a teacher. Thank you, sir, for your reminder. But my cultivation talent is limited, and I fear my hopes of becoming an immortal are slim. Plus, with my partner pregnant, I urgently need a trade to support my family. So I'd like to give it a try. It's a good thing that you think this way, but I advise you not to waste your contribution points. Not to mention just exchanging for Tier 1 low-grade talisman master inheritance. Costs 50 contribution points. You'll still have to buy talisman pen, paper, and spiritual ink separately. Most beginners fail at talisman making thousands of times. If you can master the basics, you're already considered talented. Are you sure you can afford all of these expenses? A look of surprise appeared on my face. Even though I now had all the knowledge of Tier 2 top-grade talismans, I had no real concept of just how difficult the basics were. I didn't really understand until now. It was only at this moment that I realized the Tier 2 top-grade talisman inheritance in my mind was probably even more valuable than I thought. My eyes became even more determined. I still want to give it a try. Seeing that I insisted on this, the official stopped trying to dissuade me. He quickly operated his jade tablet. Points have been deducted. Wait here a moment. Someone will bring you the spiritual contract and inheritance soon. About the time it takes to burn an incense stick later. A young man and a young woman, outer disciples in white robes, arrived one after another. One of the figures caught me by surprise. It was actually Li Hanyan. I didn't say anything. The male outer disciple bowed deeply to the official first, then handed me a jade slip glowing with blue light. I knew this was a spiritual contract. Whenever you buy out an item from the sect, you have to sign the spiritual contract. The most important rule is that the bought-out item must be destroyed immediately after learning. It can only be passed on to direct family members. Otherwise, you'll suffer spiritual backlash. I accepted the jade slip and wrote my name and birthday on it, then received the Tier 1 low-grade talisman inheritance, and bowed before leaving. Even as I was leaving, Li Hanyan secretly scoffed in her heart, thinking that me learning talisman making was just wishful thinking, and couldn't wait to see me fail. Of course, I had no idea what she was thinking, nor did I care. After leaving the management office, I immediately headed to the nearest marketplace for servants. On this trip out, I brought enough spirit stones, just to buy talisman pens, paper, and spiritual ink. Following the crowd, I quickly scanned the shops on both sides. Very soon I arrived at the largest talisman specialty store in the servant area. Fudao Jai. A female servant saw me and came over immediately. How may I help you? I'd like a Wolf Bristle talisman pen, 3 bundles of spirit-infused talisman paper, and 3 boxes of 5-tailed spiritual ink. All right, senior brother. That will be 116 spirit stones in total. First-time customers can get a discount, so you only need to pay 110 spirit stones. Okay. After paying, the female servant wrapped everything in coarse cloth and handed it to me, and also gifted me a booklet on basic talisman drawing difficulties. Although I already knew all this, I still smiled and accepted it. Please thank your boss for me. Once I'm skilled at talisman crafting, I'll sell all my talismans at your shop. On my way home, I passed a food shop and bought some sweets and supplements for Mu Xinyu. When I got home, I greeted Mu Tiking, who was caring for Mu Xinyu, then went to the side room to organize my things. To be honest, carrying so much stuff on the way back, I thought about putting it into my system space several times. But to act like a normal person, I held back. With my current cultivation and status, still not worthy of owning a storage pouch. But the system space is really huge. It's probably as big as a whole soccer field on Blue Star, and it can level up along with me. I pull my thoughts back. Then I take out the talisman brush, talisman paper, and spiritual ink, placing them on the table. Next to them is the entry-level first-rank talisman master inheritance that I exchanged for at the menial hall. The first-rank lower-grade talisman master inheritance. That inheritance, to put it simply, is basically just a collection of books on various first-rank lower-grade talismans, with a very simple instruction manual. There's no way it can compare to the system's second-rank top talisman master inheritance. The cost of making 100 talismans is about 35 spirit stones. A first-rank lower-grade talisman can sell for 1 to 3 spirit stones, at most a 3x profit. But a first-rank mid-grade talisman can sell for 8 to 10 spirit stones. Each one yields roughly 3 times more. Making 100 would be 30 times the profit. Thinking about those profits, I get excited just thinking about it. But that's only in theory. A typical first-rank lower-grade talisman master might make several hundred or even 1,000, and would be lucky to have one talisman succeed. I'm on the other end of that. I have the second-rank superior talisman master inheritance. I can't guarantee a 100% success rate on low-level talismans, but 99.9% is definitely possible. I exhale slowly, focusing and calming myself. I lay out the talisman paper and begin drawing my first talisman. The process of making talismans is pretty tedious. It requires absolute precision, but I don't really need that. I've got a cheat code. I dip the talisman brush into the spiritual ink. Spiritual energy flows from my danshin into my palm, gathering in the brush, spreading to the tip, falling onto the talisman paper. As my thoughts move slightly, the brush in my hand starts drawing with a strange curve. Moments later, a wisp of spiritual light ripples from top to bottom across the talisman paper. The ink dries rapidly. The talisman paper gradually dims. The first-rank lower-grade water-site talisman is complete. From start to finish, it took less than half a cup of tea. And it succeeded on the first try. I'm pretty happy about that. With my third layer key refining base, the first-rank lower-grade talismans I draw have the full power of a third-layer key refiner's all-out strike. And the beauty of talismans is, you only need to inject a little spiritual energy to unleash their power instantly. That's why you shouldn't casually make an enemy of a talisman master. You never know how many talismans they have. Without taking a break, I continue crafting. Recovery talismans, light body talismans, key blast talismans, fireball talismans, golden spike, and so on. Even defensive talismans. I made all of them in one go. Until I completely exhausted all my spiritual energy. Until my mind was fatigued. Only then did I toss all the finished talismans into the system space. After all that, I sat in meditation in the side room to cultivate. I don't know if it was just my imagination, but the efficiency of absorbing spiritual energy from heaven and earth today seemed a bit better than usual. In the days that followed, my life turned into a routine of 3 things. Making talismans at home every day. Occasionally taking outer sect spirit field watering tasks. For the first few days, I was drawing first-rank lower-grade talismans. Later, I switched to first-rank mid-grade ones. At my peak, I could make about 10 first-rank lower-level talismans per day. Only 3 mid-grade ones, though. Otherwise, I ran out of spiritual energy. But the power of first-rank mid-grade talismans is incredible. For example, the Golden Sword Talisman. It's as strong as a 6th-layer key refiner, casting the Golden Sword technique at full power. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, 2 months have passed. That day, Uncle Moo visited just like always. I've given you all the contribution points I earned in the sect. I'm leaving the sect for a while soon. If I don't make it back, please take good care of Shinyu for me. And don't let her down. Uncle Moo, can't you just tell me what's going on? That way I can see if there's any way I can help. Don't ask any more. With that, Moo Tiking's expression changed, and he turned and left. All I can do is pray in my heart that he returns safely. A month has passed since Moo Tiking left Kingling Immortal Sect. During this time, to look after Mu Xinyu, I've been staying home taking care of her while making talismans. And the 3 bundles of spiritual pearl talisman paper I bought earlier have all been used up. So I specially made a batch of the most basic entering city talismans, planning to sell them. That way, I wouldn't attract too much attention. After that, I took more than a dozen entering city talismans straight to Fudao Pavilion. Inside, most of the outer sect workers were busy. No one came to greet me for a while, so I waited quietly to the side. Thank you for waiting, junior brother. How can I help you today? A cool, clear voice came from my side. I followed the sound and saw a young lady in a light purple dress, who I hadn't noticed had already come near. Greetings, senior sister. My name is Lin Bei. I'm here today to sell some talismans I've made, and also buy more materials for making talismans. What rank are they? We have a good reputation for fair prices at Fudao Pavilion. Not gonna lie, senior sister, I'm just a beginner. I can only make some basic entry-level talismans for now. Could you please check and help me see how much these talismans are worth? I said a bit embarrassed, and took out the 16 city entry talismans I'd prepared. The young woman was a little surprised on hearing that. She glanced over the talismans, noticing their smooth spiritual glow, subtle yet present. Although these benefited from spiritual pearl talisman paper, among entry-level talismans, they're still top quality. Oh. The female worker who helped me 3 months ago walked over, surprised at what she saw. Senior sister, this is the brother I told you about last time, the one who bought the talisman materials.
He's still just a beginner.
Sami, what did you say? 3 months ago? He's the one who bought 3 bundles of spiritual pearl talisman paper? So you're saying he's only been making talismans for 3 months? At first, I just wanted to give it a try. I didn't expect my first dust cleansing talisman to work, and I really got the hang of it after that. So I've been drawing ever since. Used up all the spiritual pearl talisman paper, and only managed to make 16 successful talismans. 300 sheets of spiritual pearl talisman paper. Got 16 talismans done in just 3 months, which shows you do have talent for this. Still, the dust cleansing talisman is the most basic one. Fortunately, we at Fudao Pavilion never say no. For these 16, I can give you 4 spirit stones. I hope you can become a formal talisman master soon. Thank you, senior sister. No need for the spirit stones. This time, I still want to buy 10 bundles of spiritual bamboo talisman paper, 2 Volve hair brushes, and 5 boxes of blacktail spiritual ink. Senior sister, he nodded at Xiaomi. The items were brought over quickly. After paying the spirit stones, I bowed in thanks again, and turned to leave, watching me walk away.
Hyujo muttered, impressive.
Looks like this junior brother will shed his menial worker status soon, and become an outer disciple. Spring has passed, autumn has come. In the blink of an eye, it was time for Mu Xingyu to give birth. I paced back and forth in the courtyard. My heart was in my throat. I waited outside the room. My palms were sweaty. A few times I wanted to rush in, but the midwife scolded me each time. I don't know how much time passed. Suddenly, a loud cry of a baby pierced the sky. Congratulations, host. You have a child with no spiritual roots. You have earned 1 lottery chance. I rushed into the room, face full of excitement. Mu Xingyu was lying on the bed, her face pale. When she saw me come in, she forced a weak smile. I took out a purifying talisman and a low-grade awakening talisman, and used them on Mu Xingyu. After I finished all this, I finally took the baby from the midwife. The little one had his eyes closed, his small face wrinkled, yet full of vitality. After settling Mu Xingyu and the child, I finally had a moment to check the system. Looking at the child's talent panel, I was at a loss for what to do. A child without spiritual roots. Then I just hope he lives a safe life. I'll name him Lin Ping'an. Then I started the lottery. The system's lottery wheel spun again. The pointer slowly landed on the cultivation technique section. It's the yin-yang art. It can double the cultivation efficiency of both partners. But it can't be used on a partner with no cultivation base. Still, not bad. But the appearance of this technique made me twice as eager to find a partner with spiritual roots. I didn't dwell on it too much. I immediately sat cross-legged beside Mu Xingyu. Switching cultivation methods went very smoothly. The speed at which I absorbed spiritual energy was several times faster than before. The conversion efficiency was higher. It used to take most of the day to restore my spiritual power at Key Refining Level 3. Now it only takes 2 hours. Once I reach a higher stage, it'll only get much better. The next day, after feeding the mother and child, I headed toward Fang's place. I must reveal my talisman crafting strength as soon as possible. Otherwise, I can't earn money, let alone finding a partner. For every additional partner, I have to pay an extra 50 spirit stones as a head tax to the sect. I wasn't in a hurry to look for a partner before, but after drawing this technique, I have to consider it. It's not easy to find a partner with spiritual roots. Unless I reveal I'm a Tier 2 talisman master, but that's almost impossible. The time isn't right yet. As I was thinking, I had already stepped into the third Fang's talisman hall. I took out 3 or 4 tower talismans from my bag and placed them on the table. I'm going to sell all these talismans. Talisman crafting is much harder than I thought. After a few months, I can still only make these entry-level talismans. This time, I didn't take out the ones from the system's storage space. Those low-grade Tier 1 talismans. I'm just afraid if I advance too fast. It's only been 10 months since I started learning talisman making. Advancing without a teacher is too unbelievable. Making tiered talismans would be mind-blowing. At this moment, a senior sister walked over, gave the talismans I drew a few glances. Junior brother, the quality of your talismans is pretty good. I'll give you 10 spirit stones for them. Do you need to buy more talisman materials this time? You still have a bit left from your last purchase. I'll skip buying more for now. It's not that I don't want to buy, but I'm short on cash right now. I have other expenses coming up. After picking up the spirit stones, I left the talisman hall. But I didn't go home right away. Instead, I went to Fang's, a renowned partner matchmaking agency. This was the decision Mu Xingyu and I came to last night. With another person in the family, it'll be livelier. I arrived at the entrance of the matchmaking agency, looked up for a moment, and then stepped inside. This matchmaking agency has a good reputation in the market, and the introduction fee is reasonable. An old man in plain clothes, his hair white, walked over from behind the counter. Judging by your clothes, you must be a disciple from the miscellaneous servants' quarters. Are you here to look for a suitable partner, or to register your information and wait for someone to pick you? I greeted him with a cupped fist. Getting straight to the point, I told him directly that I was here to find a concubine for myself. The old man motioned for me to sit at the 8 immortals table, poured me a cup of coarse tea, and asked me to provide my personal information to help match me with suitable candidates. If the matchmaking is successful in the end, the agency will charge 10 spirit stones as a fee. I don't really have any requirements. As long as she's sincere about living life with me, she should be able to get along with my wife and child at home. Having spiritual roots would be best. The old man's hand holding the brush paused instinctively, but his professionalism drove him to continue recording everything. After I finished speaking, he finally responded. Friend Lin, your requests are quite reasonable. You seem like someone who wants a real family life. Now, tell me about yourself, so I can find the right match for you. I am a menial disciple. My cultivation is at the 3rd level of key refining, with inferior 5-element spiritual roots. I currently have a wife and a son. The income is decent. At present, I'm an aspiring talisman master. When he heard I was a talisman master, the old man's hand paused as he was writing. He looked up at me in surprise. Right after that, he stood up and took a pile of bamboo slips from the nearby shelf. He searched through them for about the time it takes to drink 3 cups of tea. He picked out 3 scrolls and handed them to me. Distinguished guest, please take a look. These 3 are the ones I think are most suitable for you. And none of them mind if their partner already has a family. I took the bamboo slips and read through them. The first one is named Su Kier. She has no spiritual roots and works in a small shop in the marketplace. She has a gentle and kind personality. The second is Kiyu Chinking. She has no spiritual roots, and her parents have been missing for almost 3 years. The 3-year deadline is almost up. If they don't return, she'd be expelled from the menial disciple area. The third one has some particularities. She's a female cultivator at the 3rd level of key refining. Her name is Zhu He. She joined the Kingling Immortal sect 10 years ago. She's currently not in the sect. She's on a 2-year mission. She returned in October this year. That's 4 months from now. Her only requirement is for her partner to help her figure out the path to enter the outer sect. After reading the information on all 3, I wanted to meet all 3 of them. To get to know them a bit? Sure, no problem. Right now, only Su Kier is available to meet. The other 2 will take a few days. I agreed happily. Then I took out 5 spirit stones and handed them to the old man. As a deposit, he quickly went out to arrange things. It didn't take long. Outside the Dog Companion Introduction Agency, I heard the sound of brisk footsteps. I turned to look. A young woman dressed in plain white came in. She had an oval face, fair skin, and bright, lively eyes. Su Kier greets senior brother Lin. Junior sister Su, no need for formalities. Please sit. Did you learn about my background on your way here? I already have a wife and a newborn child. My spiritual roots are also the worst, inferior 5-element kind. Do you mind? Su Kier looked up at me, a bit shy. On my way here? The agency senior brother already told me. As for the spiritual roots, I'm just an ordinary mortal. I don't dare ask for anything. Besides, senior brother Lin, you are a talisman master. In my heart, that's already very impressive. All I want is to find someone who'll treat me well for the rest of my life. You don't seem like those impetuous types. I'm willing. But I still need to talk to my father to see what he thinks. That's only proper. I also need to get my Tao companion's opinion. I hope you understand. A strong surprise flashed in Sukira's eyes. She didn't expect me to be so timid, and even need my Tao companion's permission. This actually made her impression of me even better. So we agreed to meet here again tonight, to introduce each other's families. If there are no issues, we can pick an auspicious day and have a simple wedding ceremony. After seeing Sukir off, I arranged with the agency owner, Elder Kian, to meet Kyu Chinking here 3 days later. I didn't linger and headed home. Before I reached home, I saw my courtyard from a distance. Mu Xingyu was sitting at the door, playing with our son. I walked up to her and told her everything that had happened today. Mu Xingyu was delighted after hearing it all. Husband, you finally figured it out. In the cultivation world, the family is very important. So nobody ever has only one reason. Tonight I'll cook a big meal. It'll definitely make her want to marry into our family. Just relax. I was stunned. If this were my previous life, it would be a top-tier sci-fi movie. After spending some time with Mu Xinyu and my son, I went back to my room to continue studying talisman techniques. This time, I wasn't drawing the same old talismans, but remembered something awkward. With my current cultivation level, I actually have no way to communicate with my Tao companion across distances. If I can make a mid-grade first-tier sound transmission talisman, I'll be able to do that. So, as soon as I had the thought, I started making one. I took out spirit bamboo talisman paper, a Volve hair talisman brush, and black-tailed spiritual ink. A mid-grade first-tier sound transmission talisman is usually made in 2 parts, mother talisman and child talisman. A child talisman can contact its corresponding mother talisman 10 times, while the mother talisman can initiate contact 20 times. Child talismans drawn using the same technique can't be more than 10 li from the mother talisman. Otherwise, the transmission fails. According to market price, for the same set of sound transmission talismans, 1 mother talisman and 3 child talismans cost about 50 spirit stones. I spent all afternoon making them until dusk. I only stopped when my spiritual energy was depleted. I managed to make 2 sets. Night fell. I recovered some spiritual energy while meditating. Glancing at the sky, it was almost time to meet Sukir. Before leaving, I handed a purple talisman to Mu Xingyu, telling her to keep it close. Even though she's a mortal with no spiritual roots, she knows how precious sound transmission talismans are, and obediently kept it safe. As soon as I arrived at the agency, I saw a petite figure waiting at the door. I led her back toward my home. Throughout dinner, I barely got in a word. Mu Xinyu did all the talking with Sukir. After dinner, on the way to Sukir's house, she started calling me husband. She was a different person from before. I looked at Sukir, who'd become quite the chatterbox, and couldn't help but feel grateful for having Mu Xingyu as my wife. What more could I ask for? Good moods are always short-lived. Just as Sukir and I were talking about our future, an unpleasant voice suddenly interrupted. Isn't this the worthless son of Lin Dashen? The loser he left behind? The speaker dragged out his words, scanning me with an extremely disdainful look. Well. A useless menial who can't even make it into the outer sect still dares to dream of spending his life with a girl like her? Why don't you take a piss and see for yourself if you're worthy? The one speaking was Fang Deyong, and he was with 2 rough-looking guys. They all burst out laughing. Their laughter was crude and grating. My anger surged. I was just about to teach them a lesson, when Sukir already stepped in front of me to protect me. Whether I'm a good match for Brother Lin is none of your business, you toad. Brother Lin, let's go. She grabbed my hand, ready to leave. Of course, I couldn't let my future path be blocked by others, or let her shield me from trouble. Besides, this wasn't the first time Fang Deyong provoked me. Maybe I used to be powerless, but now I'm already a top-tier second-level talisman master.
How could I?
let trash like this act arrogant in front of me anymore. So I pulled Sukir behind me and swept a cold gaze over the three of them one by one. Fang Dayu, you better watch your mouth. Hearing this, Fang Dayu burst out laughing. After laughing enough, he stepped closer. You still won't admit you're useless, huh? Did I say anything wrong? If you dare say another useless word, I'll make you suffer. Even if you're at the 4th stage of key refining, my talismans are enough to handle you. As I spoke, I took out a handful of talismans from my robe. I shot a cold look at the two behind Fang Dayu. When they saw the talismans in my hand, the three of them looked uncertain. A rough man behind him shouted harshly, "Stop trying to intimidate us. You're only at the 3rd stage of key refining. I don't believe all those talismans in your hand are real. Besides, can you even afford so many talismans? Why would I buy them? I made these talismans myself. I have as many as I want." The two rough men quickly exchanged glances. They both saw fear in each other's eyes. Brother Lin, I didn't recognize you were someone important. Please be generous. Don't take it to heart. I'll leave right now. The two of them left immediately, not daring to pause for even a second. Although Fang Dayu cursed quietly in his heart, his trembling legs betrayed him. He was panicking too. He wanted to run as well. But he couldn't accept it. How could he lose to someone like me, only at the 3rd stage of key refining? Seeing this, I focused my will. Spiritual power gathered in my hand, condensing water arrow talismans. The talisman left my hand. A streak of ice blue water shot out, and suddenly blasted toward Fang Dayu. All thoughts in Zhang Dayu's mind stopped immediately. He turned and fled in panic. He didn't dare stop for a second. Watching the three of them run away in embarrassment, I snorted coldly to myself. I exposed my identity as a 1st-grade low-level talisman master too early this time, which might affect my later plans. But there was no other choice. Given the situation, I had to act. But I figured they wouldn't dare spread the word. After another half cup of tea's time, Sukir brought me to her home. She pushed open the slightly ajar gate to the yard. A faint coughing sound came from inside. A middle-aged man dressed in a loose, light gray robe and looking sickly walked out. He looked about 50 years old. His face was aged. His temples were graying, but his eyes were still clear. He was Sukir's father, Su Tianqi. Sukir went up and held his arm. "Dad, tonight I'm bringing my chosen husband for you to meet." "Meet him." Su Tianqi kept coughing. Sukir gently patted his back several times, and he finally felt better. Then his eyes paused for a moment, and he started sizing me up from head to toe. I felt a bit nervous at first, but seeing Su Tianqi in this state, I was reminded of Mu Tiking. I gathered my thoughts and respectfully stepped forward with a bow. Lin Bei greets Uncle Su. Su Tianqi gave a slight smile, withdrew his gaze, and with Sukir's support, walked inside. Kier is my only daughter. Her mother passed away early. I don't care if she marries into a wealthy family. All I want is for someone to treat her sincerely. Just don't let her suffer. That's enough. I stood up straight, with a respectful expression. Uncle Su, rest assured. Since I've promised to marry Kier, I will treat her with all my heart. And I will never let her suffer, not even a little. Although I'm only a menial disciple right now, I have the ability to give her a peaceful life. Su Tianqi looked at the determination in my eyes and thought of the things his daughter had mentioned about me before. His last bit of worry disappeared. He nodded and showed a relieved smile. Since you said that, I can rest assured. In the future, whether you take more wives or concubines, I hope you'll always remember what you said today. He went back inside, and when he came out again, he was holding something wrapped in cotton cloth. I'm a member of the Su family from Nu City, under the jurisdiction of Qingshui County, Zhao State. Years ago, my family was destroyed, and I was lucky enough to enter the Qingling Immortal Sect, which let me survive. Inside this cloth is my Su family's heirloom. I never figured out what it does. So treat this as Kira's dowry. Take good care of her after you accept it from me. I immediately took the bundle with both hands. It felt smooth and warm. I bowed respectfully again. Uncle Su, rest assured. I won't let you down. At the end of the month, I stayed at the Su house for an hour. When it was getting late, I got up to say goodbye. Before leaving, we agreed on a time for me to visit tomorrow. I would officially marry Su Kier. And soon the day arrived. The next day, with a recommendation from old Kian at the Taoist matchmaking agency, I went to the Happy Events shop in the bazaar and ordered a complete wedding package. After going through all the steps, with Su Tianqi's reluctant gaze on me, I successfully brought Su Kier home. Although I didn't go out for 3 days, marrying Su Kier didn't trigger any system rewards this time. 3 days later, I came back to the Taoist matchmaking agency feeling refreshed. As planned to meet the second person today. Old Kian, who was busy with his accounts, saw me arrive and immediately put down his work to greet me. Honored guest, please have a seat. Miss Kiu will be here any moment. Before he could even finish his sentence, a sharp voice called out from outside. Boss Kian, where is the person you were going to introduce me to? Let me be clear up front. If I am still not satisfied this time, you'll have to give me a full refund on that 5 spirit stone deposit. Her voice arrived before she did. I looked toward the sound. A woman wearing a long pink dress, with exceptionally striking looks, strode into view. I frowned and looked at old Kian. Is this the person he matched for me who is suitable for a steady life and has a gentle personality? Miss Q, please don't joke with this old man. Please come and sit down first. It is true that the previous candidates I matched for you were not quite to your liking. But today's young Master Lin, he perfectly matches his description. My assistant should have told you about him, right? Qiu Qingqing sat down with a hint of annoyance, but her attitude softened significantly after seeing me. Young Master Lin, please do not blame me. It is mostly because the people Boss Qian introduced before were all quite subpar. Before you, Boss Qian introduced 3 others to me in total. But not a single one of them was reliable. One told me at our first meeting that he wanted me to earn money to support him after marriage. Another one wanted to go home with me the very first time we met. The most outrageous one was the guy right before you. Probably because he saw that my parents had been missing for years. As soon as we left the agency, he threatened me, demanding I hand over the contribution points my parents had saved up. Tell me, what was I supposed to do when I met someone like that? I did not say a word, but my initial impression of her had changed. I heard from the agency assistant that you are a talisman master about to reach the official rank, and that you just took a concubine 3 days ago. She was even quite satisfied with you. This made me curious about you. So, I went to your labor district to ask around a bit. Can you tell me why you already have a wife and a concubine, and yet still want to take another? Miss Q might not fully understand the difficulties faced by cultivators like us, who have low-grade spiritual roots. With my talent for cultivation, the path to immortality is elusive. When I discovered I had a talent for making talismans, I stopped having too many fantasies about the immortal path. Instead, I strive to expand my family tree and produce offspring with better prospects. Of course, whether it is my wife or a concubine, I will treat them with sincerity. After she heard my explanation, combined with what others said about me, she became more and more satisfied with me. She thought she had really found the right person this time. I have no more questions. If young Master Lin does not mind, I can go home with you today. Qiu Qingqing did not seem to be the shy type. Her eyes were fixed on me, her expression showing a hint of anticipation, mixed with a faint fear of being rejected. Since the lady had said that, I naturally had no reason to refuse. Wasn't my purpose for coming here to take a wife. Miss Qingqing is so straightforward. How could I possibly decline? At that moment, the system's voice rang out. Congratulations on marrying your 3rd Dao companion. You have gained another lucky draw attempt. I was slightly stunned. I did not expect to get a lucky draw chance this time. I then quickly regained my composure. Leaving behind 10 spirit stones, I immediately took Qiu Qingqing back home. But after getting home, I discovered an embarrassing problem. The house my father left me only had 2 rooms. Fortunately, Mu Shinyu reacted quickly. She claimed the house next door was also their property. I was finally able to settle Qiu Qingqing in. I let her stay in the room Mu Shinyu had lived in since childhood. Luckily, Qiu Qingqing was used to being alone and did not mind the arrangement. Meanwhile, Mu Shinyu and the recovered Su Qier had teamed up to prepare a lavish dinner at home. Over the course of the meal, Qiu Qingqing, who initially didn't know how to interact with them, gradually opened up. After dinner, since neither Qiu Qingqing nor I had parents, we both agreed to skip the formal ceremonies and go straight to the bridal chamber. The next morning, on the bed where Mu Shinyu used to sleep as a child, I slowly woke up. I did not get up yet, but mentally commanded the system to start the lucky draw. The system's wheel and needle began to spin again. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a Supreme Grade Key Gathering Pill. A Supreme Grade Key Gathering Pill. My pupils constricted, and my heart could not calm down for a long time. Although the Key Gathering Pill is a Tier 1 pill, only used by key refinement cultivators, a Supreme Grade Key Gathering Pill. Even cultivators in the entire Kingling Immortal sect might not have tasted one. Pills of the same type are divided into 4 grades: low, medium, high, and supreme. Except for the supreme grade, pills of all other qualities contain pill toxins. Cultivators cannot just blindly consume pills. If taken in excess, the pill toxins will accumulate and not dissipate, damaging one's foundation. However, a supreme grade pill does not have a trace of pill toxin. A cultivator can take them infinitely. It is just that supreme grade pills cannot be refined through hard work alone. It requires a stroke of fate to refine them. Thus, their formation is often accompanied by a pill tribulation. But I still took a deep breath, silently took out the supreme grade key gathering pill, and swallowed it directly. The moment the pill entered my stomach, before I even began to circulate my technique, it already began to actively absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. That sea of spiritual energy, condensed into a near-solid state, began to gather frantically toward my danshin. I did not hesitate anymore, and actively circulated the yin-yang art. Coordinating with this massive amount of spiritual energy, I aimed to break through the shackles of the 4th level of key refinement, and step into the mid-stage of key refinement. Since I switched to the yin-yang art, the 3 original green key clouds in my body had turned into black and white. The first 2 clouds were filled to their limit, but the third one was still very weak. Under the scouring of the massive spiritual energy, the third black and white key cloud was expanding at a rate visible to the naked eye. The black and white colors also became increasingly translucent. I do not know how much time passed, but the third black and white cloud was completely filled to its limit. The massive spiritual energy continued its surge, and almost in the next instant, the 4th black and white key cloud slowly began to condense. Only then did the massive spiritual energy weaken significantly. I gave a low shout in my mind, and the 4th black and white cloud was fully formed. At that moment, my cultivation stepped from the 3rd level of key refinement to the 4th. As the sunset turned blood red, I finally snapped my eyes open. I did not expect it. A single supreme grade key gathering pill actually boosted my cultivation directly to the 4th level of key refinement. With my progress already halfway through, I finished my session and stopped cultivating. The effects of the key gathering pill in my body had not entirely dissipated yet. I was extremely satisfied with the system's reward this time. Time flew by like a white stallion passing a gap. In the blink of an eye, 2.5 months had passed. Less than a month apart, Su Qier and Qiu Qingqing both became pregnant. During this time, I also started researching the heirloom Su Qier's father had given me, an object shaped like a jade pendant. Unfortunately, I could not figure anything out, so I threw it back into the system space. Additionally, there's the matter regarding Crescent Moon's father, Mu Tiking. I asked Crescent Moon where his father might have gone. He shook his head, not knowing either. This made me worry about Uncle Mu. That day, the 4th black and white key orb in my danshin became completely full. Just waiting for the 5th orb to form, Then I would be able to break through to Qi refining level 5. However, the spiritual energy effect from that supreme grade Qi gathering pill had already completely dissipated. But I have no regrets. After all, for a supreme grade Qi gathering pill, to give someone like me, with a mixed spiritual root, such progress, is already incredibly rare. Even though my cultivation has advanced, I'm about to run out of spirit stones. Supporting 3 Tao companions, the spirit stones I'd saved up are nearly gone. I glanced in the direction of Fudao Jai. It's about time. I showed my true strength as a first-tier low-grade talisman master. Senior brother Lin, you said all these first-tier low-grade Fulu talismans were drawn by you? Yes. Lately, I've gained some insights into water sword talismans, and I accidentally managed to grasp the basics. Zhao Min's eyes widened in shock. She took a deep breath and exclaimed excitedly, Senior brother Lin, wait a moment. I'll go get senior sister He right now. A short while later, Zhao Min brought both the owner of Fudao Jai and senior sister over, dragging them into the front hall. Senior sister He, weren't you just looking for a new disciple who could become a first-tier low-grade talisman master? Looking far and wide, it's right in front of you. He Yuzhou followed Zhao Min's gesture and looked at me. Junior brother Lin, don't tell me that the first-tier low-grade water sword talisman in your hand is one you made yourself? I admitted rather awkwardly. Hearing this, He Yuzhou was deeply shocked. In about 1 year, he had gone from beginner to able to draw first-tier low-grade talismans. This completely defied her understanding. According to her knowledge of the outer sex Buddhist Tao disciples, there shouldn't be any like this. Maybe not even among the inner sect disciples. Senior sister He, is there any issue? Nothing really. You haven't applied for the outer sect examination yet, have you? Not yet, senior sister. After finishing the last talisman today, I came straight to Fudao Jai to try and sell them. Good then. All these talismans, I'll pay you 4 spirit stones apiece. But you'll need to come with me in a bit. No problem, senior sister He. Normally, a first-tier low-grade water sword talisman is only worth 3 spirit stones apiece. Senior sister, he offered to buy them for 4 each, so I really made a profit today. Then senior sister he moved quickly, asking Zhao Min to bring me 52 spirit stones. Without another word, she grabbed my hand, pulled me along, and headed up the mountain slope toward the outer sect on Qingyun Mountain. After leaving the servant area, she formed hand seals, and a subtle spiritual force lifted both of us up. We flew toward the mountainside. Senior sister He, is this the art of flight? That's right. But with my late-stage Qi refining cultivation, I can barely carry you as far as the outer sect. Any farther would be too much for me? No need to envy me, junior brother. You'll be able to do this too someday. As she spoke, He Yuzhou turned her head, her enchanting eyes meeting mine. I couldn't help but feel my heart stir. Meanwhile, in the eastern hall of the outer sect's Fu Hall, Zhang Rou was teaching a group of outer sect disciples in white robes how to draw talismans. She was the acting teacher of Fu Hall. Your line work here is too rushed. Take it slow and keep your hand steady. Why did you stop drawing here? Have you not yet mastered the talisman shape? As soon as her words fell, there was a soft explosion behind her. Her brow furrowed slightly, her face twisting a bit in anger. Li Hanyan, how did you blow up a talisman again? How many times have I told you? While imbuing spirit, your spiritual energy and the talisman pen must be fully in sync. You absolutely must not lose focus. She let out several heavy sighs and glared fiercely at all the disciples. With hands on her hips, she shouted, once every 3 years, outer sect disciples, you really are the worst class I've ever taught. Teach yourselves. I'm a bit tired. Zheng Rou rubbed her brow in exhaustion, walked over to her teaching podium, and sat down cross-legged, closing her eyes. Just then, a voice called from outside the eastern side hall. Zheng Rou opened her eyes again, which had just closed. She saw 2 figures walk in one after the other. All eyes there fell on me and senior sister He, who was holding my hand. Everyone looked at each other in surprise. What's up, Anezai? Is this someone you found to be your cultivation partner? At this moment, Lee Hanyan was also looking at us with a complicated expression. It seemed she never imagined that our next meeting would actually be in the outer sex fortune hall. When she heard me call her senior sister,
Joe finally realized what was happening.
she let go of my hand. This is junior sister, the new apprentice I found for you. Hearing this, Zhang Ro looked me up and down. She noticed I wasn't wearing the standard outer sect disciple uniform, and my aura was only that of a mid-stage key refining cultivator. This made her even more confused. He is Lin Bei, previously just a servant disciple, never joined the outer sect. The important thing is,
He taught himself fortune talisman for about a year.
and is now a first-rank lower-grade talisman master. Zheng Ro was stunned for 2 seconds, and exclaimed in surprise. The other disciples present all gasped in shock. A servant disciple, self-taught fortune talisman in about a year, already a first-rank lower-grade talisman master. How could these terms possibly be put together in one sentence? Zheng Ro re-evaluated me. If all this is true, then my talent in fortune talisman is no less terrifying than those inner sect geniuses. Junior brother Lin, right? Show me your skills now. When I heard this, I nodded. I looked left and right, but didn't know how to start. I don't have any materials. How can I draw a fortune talisman? What was I thinking? Junior brother Lin, just use his uniform material, since it would be a waste to let him use it anyway. I followed the voice and looked at him. The person he was pointing at turned out to be Lee Hanyan. My heart skipped a beat, but on the surface, I calmly walked over to his desk. I picked up his talisman pen. I gathered my focus and calmed my mind. The outer sect sure is wealthy. These outer sect disciples all use high-quality Volve hair talisman pens, spirit pearl talisman paper, and wu-wei bellwood. I started drawing a water sword talisman. The process was very smooth, without any unexpected incidents. Still, I hid some of my true ability, acting less skilled at some of the non-crucial steps. Even so, every outer sect disciple learning fortune talisman present was still shocked, especially Lee Hanyan. If anyone here knew me better than her, there wouldn't be one. Even when I exchanged for the first-rank lower-grade talisman inheritance, she and the senior brother on duty delivered it together. From the exchange to becoming a first-rank lower-grade talisman master, it really took just about a year. He couldn't help but tremble slightly. Her gaze at me was extremely complicated. Lee Hanyan, if you're not feeling well, I allow you to go rest. Upon hearing this, Lee Hanyan quickly waved her hand and said she was fine. But her smile was even uglier than crying. Just then, I lifted my hand, putting down my pen. A first-rank lower-grade water sword talisman was completed on the table. Not bad, I can tell. You're quite skilled with the water sword talisman. You just seemed a bit nervous during the process. But that's not a big issue. Lin Bei, since you haven't joined any other outer sect sub-hall yet, the east side hall of the Fortune Hall where Senior Sister Zhang is should fit you best. But I still have family matters in the servant quarters. Can I bring them with me? If you join the east side hall of my Fortune Hall, I'll file an application for a mansion for you in the Fortune Hall residential area today. You'll get a large mansion. What do you think? That would be wonderful. Thank you, Senior Sister. I'll leave everything to you, Senior Sister. Easy. Take this junior brother to the Treehouse Hall for his disciple registration. I want to see junior brother Lin at East Side Hall in 3 days. Joe responded, and took me to the 15th Outer Sect Hall. On the way, he introduced his background. He was also a disciple of Fortune Hall's Outer Sect, and had already graduated. Now he is just waiting to reach Foundation Establishment, or advance to second rank in Fortune Arts. Then a Talisman Master can apply to enter the Inner Sect. In addition to the Fortune Hall, there are 4 more major sub-halls: Solo Hall, 7 Hall, and Guard Hall. Among the others, Solo Hall, Fortune Hall, and Guard Hall are the mainstream. The remaining 4 halls include things like spiritual value pre-sales. If you have difficulties cultivating, everyone goes to Dao Hall. In the Outer Sect, disciples get a basic monthly merit allowance and snacks. The higher your cultivation, the higher your minimum merit allowance. But it's only granted during the first 3 years. Besides that, you take sect missions or gain achievements in your own studies. Like him, as a 4th layer key refining cultivator, seeing a first-rank lower-grade talisman master gets a much higher monthly minimum merit allocation than typical 4th or 5th layer key refining cultivators. Arriving at Treehouse Hall, I registered my information, along with info on 3 Dao partners and 1 child. I also picked up several sets of the outer sex standard uniforms. Then I walked back with senior sister He. But on the way back, Hyujo started giving me strange looks, completely different from before. He barely spoke. Soon, we returned to the 3rd Street market of the servant quarters. When we parted, I cupped my fist to thank her, exchanged a few polite words with senior sister, then left. Watching her walk away, I thought to myself, senior sister is really great. It'd be wonderful if I could become Dao partners with her. Chances are we'd have children with spiritual roots. As soon as I got home, Sukir and Kyochinking both noticed that I was already an outer sect disciple. They both looked absolutely shocked. That's right. Today I officially registered at the Outer Sect General Affairs Hall. The acting senior sister of Fortune Hall's East Side Hall has also applied for a mansion for me. In the next day or two, our whole family can move into the outer sect. All 3 women looked incredibly happy at the news. Becoming an outer sect disciple makes all the difference. Life just keeps getting more and more hopeful. The 3 women all looked at me with happiness in their eyes. I took little Ping'an from Maxinyu's arms and played with him. I couldn't help but wonder if it was just my imagination. But although little Ping'an was only 3 months old, he already had an indescribable aura about him. The next day, Hyujo came to see me on her own accord and told me senior sister Zhang had already applied for a mansion in the outer sect for me. The house is very large, and the location is excellent. I heard that only outer sect stewards can usually live in that area. Overjoyed, I immediately started moving. With 2 of my partners pregnant, and Maxingyu caring for the baby, I had no choice but to spend 2 spirit stones in the servant quarters and hire 2 people. But when they heard I was moving to the outer sect, they insisted, calling me senior brother, and said I shouldn't pay, and insisted on helping for free. In the end, I forced 1 payment of thanks on them before they'd leave. Moving took 2 days. During that time, I took Su Kier to visit her parents. When Su Tanchi found out I became a first-rank lower-grade talisman master and was moving Su Kier to the outer sect, he was so excited he nearly fainted. Mount Qingyun, where the Azure Spirit Immortal Sect is located, is huge. Since I haven't learned flying techniques, going back and forth between the halfway point and the foot of the mountain with my 3 Dao partners took at least an hour each trip. That day, we packed up all our remaining personal belongings and officially moved into our new home. Since I was the only cultivator, wearing spotless outer sect disciples' uniform, accompanied by 3 mortals and 1 child, we were stopped by 2 disciples on duty at the entrance to the outer sect. Fortunately, after a brief conversation, they passed the light inspection and quickly checked everyone's information. We were let through smoothly. After that, our journey went without a hitch. I brought the 3 girls to our new home. I was amazed myself when I first moved here. This place is reserved for the outer sect stewards. Not only does it offer richer spiritual energy, there's also a small gathering spirit array nearby, and a small defensive formation shielding the place. After settling the 3 girls in, I walked into my own main room and sat down to cultivate. No wonder it's the outer sect. The spiritual energy here is several times denser than in the servant quarters. At this rate, I might not even need a few months and have a chance to condense my 5th key core within a single month. Of course, besides the rich spiritual energy, my top-grade profound-level technique, Yin-Yang Sutra, also plays a huge role. After finishing my practice, I went to the front hall and saw senior sister He playing with little Ping'an. From time to time, she and Kier would burst into silvery laughter. Junior brother Lin, tomorrow at 9 a.m. Don't forget to report to the east wing of the Fortune Hall. No problem, senior sister He. It's getting late. Why don't you stay for dinner before you leave, senior sister? No, that's all right. But junior brother, you really should make the most of this opportunity. Senior sister Zhang is an inner sect disciple, and also a second-rank low-grade talisman master. With her teaching you, your path with talismans will go a lot smoother. Thank you for the reminder, senior sister. I understand. I live right next door to you, so if you need anything in the future, just ask anytime. After saying this, Zhou turned and left. The next morning, just as the sky was getting light, I began meditating to cultivate. When the time was about right, I got up and walked toward the east wing of Fortune Hall. My courtyard is within the Fortune Hall grounds, so it's not far from where the disciples study blessings and fortune. It didn't take long before I arrived at the east wing. Those disciples who didn't know what was going on a few days ago heard from others that I'd just arrived and that I came from the servant quarters, and that I had taught myself to become a first-rank, low-grade talisman master. So they all looked at me with respect. Many of the female disciples looked at me with obvious admiration in their eyes. The bolder ones came right up to me, gathering around and chattering non-stop. All their words were asking me to teach them how to draw talismans. The only one who seemed calm in the crowd, but didn't look happy, was one person. That was Li Hanyan. He stared intently at me, being surrounded by everyone like a star among the moon. Standing in the center of the crowd, me. He recalled the scene from the retest day last year, and the harsh words he'd said to me. But now? Not even a year has passed, and I've not only reached Foundation Establishment Stage 4, but also become a first-rank, low-grade talisman master. A strong sense of resentment surged in Li Hanyan's heart. He got up and walked toward me, drawing curious and confused looks from the other disciples. He murmured, "Lin Bei, I regret it. I shouldn't have left you that day. Let's get back together." As soon as he said this, the disciples around started to talk in shock. Some even began to scold him. But Li Hanyan acted as if he hadn't heard anything, standing in front of me, ignoring everything else, with tears glistening in his eyes. "Junior sister, forgive me for being clueless, but the past is in the past. What are you trying to do now? What else could I want? Of course, to be your Tao companion." The moment those words left his mouth, the bustling East Wing instantly fell silent. To be my Tao companion? If I recall correctly, wasn't it you who said last year we were worlds apart? You were an outer sect disciple, and I was just a useless servant. After that, didn't you say we were no longer on the same path? Hearing this, some disciples couldn't help but gasp, and others even spoke up to denounce him. I was just trying to motivate you. If I hadn't pretended to see through you, how would you have found the courage to improve yourself? Standing here today in the East Wing of Fortune Hall, I'm honestly speechless. I really did treat Li Hanyan well for the first 18 years. And he was indeed pretty decent back then. But as he got older, his ambition grew along with him. If growing up meant becoming more mature and understanding what you want, I could understand that. But he absolutely shouldn't have said what he did on the retest day. It was that very day that I truly lost all hope. Thinking about everything before, I let out a deep, tired sigh. My gaze toward Li Hanyan was now completely emotionless. Li Hanyan, you better watch yourself. What's with all this noise in the East Wing? If you don't want to learn rune crafting, get out. Li Hanyan had just wanted to say something, when a lazy yet authoritative voice cut him off. A moment later, two figures, one tall, one short, walked in one after the other. It was Zhou and senior sister Dai. Zhang Rong, why so quiet now? Weren't you loud just a moment ago? Senior sister He and I had only just reached outside the blessed hall, and we could already hear you from the East Wing. In the entire blessed hall, only your East Wing was noisy. Look at the other 3 wings. Are any of them like you all? This is totally inappropriate. The disciples were all so frightened they hurried back to their seats. No one even dared to breathe heavily. Li Hanyan was also startled like a scared rabbit, and rushed back to his own table. Lin Lei, tell us, what just happened? Speak honestly. Lin Lei got up nervously, glanced at Li Hanyan, then shot me an apologetic look, and reluctantly spoke. As Lin Lei recounted everything in detail, the eyes of Zheng Rong and He Yuzhou both turned to me. Li Hanyan, I'll report today's incident to the sect, so you'd better not let it happen again. Upon hearing Senior Sister Dai's words, Li Hanyan could only accept in silence. However, Senior Sister Zhang's punishment made her stop resenting me, and left only hatred. Lin Bei, come with me.
Today,
I'll teach you how to skillfully draw a Tier 1 lower-grade fortune talisman. He opened a door as he spoke and walked in. Inside, it was truly something different. It was a quiet room with a small courtyard. In the courtyard, there were many spirit flowers and herbs giving off a pleasant fragrance. A cool breeze blew through, and the refreshing aroma filled my nose. I immediately felt my whole body relax and my mind clear. Zheng Rong passed through the courtyard and entered the quiet room on the other side. I followed her in. This is the resting area for generational senior brothers and sisters. It's also where we draw our talismans. Those flowers outside are awakening flowers and blue spirit grass. Their fragrance can refresh the mind. They're especially suitable for people like us, who rely on mental focus, like talisman and pill masters. 3 days ago, when I saw you draw the water arrow talisman, your technique wasn't yet skilled. This serene environment will help you get into the right mindset faster. This is a red hair talisman brush, made with fur from a Tier 1 perfected beast, the red-tailed serpent. It's used to make top-tier first-grade talisman brushes. Try it in a bit. Here are Mystic Heart talisman paper and Black Vine Spirit ink, both top-grade first-tier materials for rune crafting. If you use them properly, you can even create a Tier 2 lower-grade fortune talisman. My eyes lit up brighter and brighter. As a Tier 2 top-grade talisman master, I know these rune materials inside and out. If I perform at my best, I might even have a chance to draw a Tier 2 mid-grade fortune talisman. I was eager to give it a try, but calmed myself down a moment later. Right now I'm just a Tier 1 lower-grade talisman master. Why would Senior Sister Zhang give me such good materials? Is it really just for practice? The more I thought, the more nervous I felt. My hand holding the red hair talisman brush started trembling. I glanced at Senior Sister Zhang Rong, then looked down at my own upright posture. Could Senior Sister Zhang be trying to seduce me? If that's the case, should I accept it, or just go along with it? I figured I'd better get to drawing talismans first. So I walked to where Zhang Rong had stood before, and steadied my focus. I picked up the red hair talisman brush, dipped it in the spirit ink, and began drawing the water arrow talisman on the talisman paper. Of course, I couldn't let it slip that I was already skilled at drawing the water arrow talisman. Keep your strength steady, and make sure your mind, brush, and spirit are all in sync when injecting energy. You need to memorize each talisman stroke. Your brushwork must be continuous. Don't hesitate mid-stroke. As he spoke, he felt it wasn't enough, and reached out to gently cover my hand holding the brush with his own. A warm touch spread through my hand, and my pupils shrank. My body froze. He didn't seem to notice anything strange, instead guiding my hand through the process over and over. We went through the entire process of drawing the water arrow talisman again and again, until I became more and more skilled. I almost felt like my technique was even better than his. Only then did Zheng Rong abruptly release my hand. Today, just focus on making water arrow talismans. Tomorrow I'll teach you a new pattern. I took a deep breath and pushed down any strange feelings. Before I knew it, the sky was getting darker. The noisy sounds from the talisman shop outside snapped me back to reality. I set down my brush and was about to leave, when I saw Senior Sister Zhang Rong, quietly staring at the awakening flowers and blue spirit grass in the courtyard. She seemed lost in thought. The warm yellow lights inside made her delicate face look extra soft. Senior Sister Zhang, how long have you been practicing talisman crafting? I've probably been making talismans for almost 30 years now. Ever since I joined the Azure Spirit Immortal sect, I've been studying talisman crafting with my master. She walked over to the table as she spoke, picked up the dozen or so water arrow talismans I made today, and clicked her tongue in admiration. You really have talent. Teaching yourself to become an entry-level talisman master is already amazing. Especially your water arrow talismans. They seem to be even better than mine. If only your spiritual roots were higher, I'm sure Master would take you as a student. I don't deserve that. Fortunately, I had your guidance today, senior sister. I'm still far from your level. Senior brother Lin, it seems like there have been some rumors between you and junior sister Li Hanyan today. As soon as she'd said that, Zheng Rong looked down, a little bit embarrassed. Well, I wouldn't call them just rumors. In the past, Li Hanyan and I were indeed betrothed as kids. But after she joined the outer sect, she cut ties with me. Zheng Rong opened her mouth, but said nothing further. I then left the quiet room as well. Time passed quickly, and more than half a month quietly slipped by. During this period, I've been going back and forth between the family talisman shop and occasionally going down the mountain with Su Kier to visit Su Tianxi. It's worth mentioning that Mu Xingyu has successfully gotten pregnant with her second child. Since all three women are now expecting, I feel like I need to marry another Dao companion. However, I haven't forgotten my agreement with old Qian at the Dao Companion Matchmaking Agency. So I visited the agency again. I not only spoke with him about setting up a meeting with that girl named Zhu He, but also asked him to keep an eye out for any women with spiritual roots willing to become my Dao companion. What I really want now is to marry a woman with spiritual roots so that I can have a child with spiritual roots too. Old Qian nodded and agreed, and told me to wait patiently. Because women with spiritual roots are usually proud, it's hard for them to accept being someone's second choice. In terms of talisman crafting, I had senior sister Zheng Ro's personal guidance. Gradually, I exposed my own talent for drawing first-rank, lower-quality talismans. And I could draw as many as 4 or 5 different kinds. It was only when I drew a golden cone talisman successfully in front of her that I finally learned from senior sister Zheng Ro the real reason why she went to such lengths to teach me. It turns out she and the acting teacher of the Southern Hall, senior brother Zhao Huo, had a dispute over apprentices. Zhao Huo intentionally provoked her and ended up making a bet with her. They would each pick any one apprentice from this batch to compete in talisman crafting. Whoever's apprentice won, the loser would have to agree to one request from the winner. Zhao Huo had always fancied Zheng Ro. His request was simple. If Zheng Ro lost, she'd have to become his Dao companion. If he lost, he would hand over the second-rank top grade full set of talisman materials his master had given him to Zheng Ro, plus 1,000 spirit stones. And I was the sharpest sword in senior sister Zheng Ro's hand. That day, at the East Wing Hall, after senior sister Zheng Ro had finished drawing the last talisman and was about to go home, her petite figure walked in from outside. Junior brother, tomorrow is my bet with this Zhao Huo. Go home and get yourself into peak condition tonight. Tomorrow you must win for your senior sister, okay? If you help me win this bet, I'll agree to one request from you. I was caught completely off guard by this favor. Thank you, senior sister. I couldn't possibly accept that. You've taught me so much about talismans, and I've already benefited so much from it. No need to be so polite at a time like this. After all, I really don't want to marry Zhao Huo. Her cute little face was puffed up with indignation at that moment. My heart burned with excitement. I quickly circulated my spiritual energy to suppress thoughts I shouldn't have. Don't worry, senior sister. I'll do my absolute best. Soon it was time for the competition. The outer sect talisman hall was already packed with several layers of outer disciples, completely crowded. The bet between Zheng Ro and Zhao Huo had already become a sensation because the loser had to become senior brother Zhao's Dao companion. It had spread throughout the entire outer sect. Even many inner sect disciples came today to watch the excitement. Soon, a man in the standard outer sect uniform, with a brocade sash at his waist, walked toward the center of the talisman trial field in the talisman hall. He was none other than Zhao Huo's prized disciple, Quan Hui of the South Wing Hall. As the one responsible for representing both senior brothers and sisters, in the actual fulfillment of the bet, Quan Hui and I became the focus of many outer sect disciples. Quan Hui came from a family with a foundation cultivator ancestor in Yansu County, Zhao State. His family had risen to prominence through talismans. Before joining the immortal sect, he could already draw various ranked talismans. In his first year in the sect, he became a first-rank, lower-grade talisman master. He's probably even more formidable now. So, in most outer disciples' eyes, there was no doubt that I'd lose today. Meanwhile, I had just left home and was utterly dumbfounded. There really were a lot of people. I squeezed my way forward, which annoyed a group of other outer disciples, who were also trying to push their way in but got crowded out by me. Who the hell are you, bro? Why are you pushing so hard? Anyone might think you were the one competing in there. I'm Lin Bei, and I actually am the one competing. The outer disciples nearest to me all froze for a second. They instinctively made way for me. In the blink of an eye, I looked just like the main character making an entrance, walking calmly toward the talisman trial field, along the path that outer disciples cleared. At the center of the talisman trial field, the two central desks had already been cleared. Quan Hui stood there, looking proud and arrogant, beside one of the desks, his eyes full of disdain as he looked at me. You're Lin Bei, right? My advice, just give up now. Otherwise you'll get so nervous that you won't even be able to draw a decent talisman, making a fool of yourself. That's minor, but you'll also embarrass senior sister Zheng Ro because of you. As soon as he said this, the crowd immediately responded in agreement. The disciples from East Wing Hall weren't having any of it. They all shot back in defense. At that moment, senior sister Zheng Ro appeared before the crowd of outer sect disciples. She walked up to me and shouted at Quan Hui across the other desk. Junior brother, the competition hasn't started yet. Why make such empty boasts? Junior brother Lin's talisman skills are the finest I've ever seen. He's far better than most of you imagine. She then turned to look at me, her eyes filled with trust. Don't get nervous, junior brother. I believe in you. I was a bit touched deep inside. Looking steadily at Quan Hui across from me, words are pointless. Let's see true skill in action. At the edge of the crowd, near the East Wing Hall, Li Hanyan stood prettily by the entrance columns, her eyes glaring at me on stage with malice. Because of what had happened before, and the fact that I was greatly favored by the acting senior sister, her reputation in East Wing Hall was getting worse and worse. She was full of murderous anger, her look of hatred almost tangible. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the East Wing Hall, another tall, slender senior sister silently, her gaze landing on me from time to time. Soon, two figures in blue robes descended from the sky. They were the elders here to supervise the competition. All the disciples bowed in respect. No need for formalities today. Elder He and I were invited by inner disciple Zhao Huo to preside over this gambling competition. Today's competition rules are as follows. Nanpianting's Quan Hui and Dompianting's Lin Bei will each have the time it takes for one incense stick to burn, to draw a first-level talisman. Only one of each type of talisman may be made. Once the incense has burned out, the winner will be decided by the number of talismans made. If the numbers are the same, then we will judge by the difficulty of the drawn talismans. Elder Wang and I will make the final decision after discussion. All the materials on your desks are identical. You may check for yourselves. Honestly, I don't see much of a problem. The drafts and tracings on my desk are the ones I often use in the chores area, let alone compete in quantity. I'm not afraid to compete in quality either. Elder Wang then walked to stand between us and waved his palm in midair. Suddenly, in midair, an incense stick appeared abruptly. It ignited without flame. At Elder Wang's command, Quan Hui and I each picked up our talisman brush and began drawing talismans. On the other side, a handsome young man slowly walked to Zheng Ro's side. Ro, why make things so difficult for yourself? I heard you came to teach in the outer sect. I even gave up the chance for secluded training in the inner sect, just to follow you here. Don't you really get how I feel? Get what? I just want to prove to Master that my teaching skills are as good as anyone's. Zhao Huo looked at the woman beside him who was ignoring him, and suddenly felt his possessiveness surge. Meanwhile, at the talisman trial site, the moment the competition began, Quan Hui was already at work. His cultivation is higher than mine,
He's at key condensation level 6.
so his spiritual power is much stronger than mine. He went all out right from the start. Only a third of the incense stick had burned, and Quan Hui had already finished 2 talismans. Many disciples in the Hall of Talismans gasped at this sight. Hearing the cheers, Quan Hui paused just as he was about to draw his 3rd talisman, lifted his head for a moment, and shot me a provocative look. Faced with his provocation, I, who was diligently drawing my own talisman, didn't pay any attention. As time passed halfway again, the situation became increasingly clear. Quan Hui's brush never stopped moving. At this point, he had already finished 4 first-level talismans. In contrast, I was clearly behind, having only completed 3 so far. My 4th attack talisman, the water arrow talisman, had only half its runes outlined. Linbei, you can't even keep up. How do you expect to compete with me? This match is already in the bag for me. Doubts from the Nampiantang side rose again. Even my once calm heart started to waver. But he believed that my senior sister and I couldn't help but tremble with excitement in our beautiful eyes. Li Hanyan felt secretly delighted that I was about to lose. Serves you right. Just when everyone thought I was doomed, my brush began to move at lightning speed. Faster and faster, the lines on the talisman paper flowed like water. Spiritual power poured out of the brush tip, with not a single bit wasted. Even more shocking to the disciples, the half-finished water arrow talisman, under my seemingly casual, yet incredibly skillful technique, instantly took shape. In an instant, the entire hall of talismans fell silent. Countless disciples were stunned, their eyes all wide open, mouths slightly agape, faces filled with utter shock. Even senior sister, his beautiful eyes kept trembling. She was both excited and surprised. Li Hanyan's heart instantly fell from heaven to hell. Quan Hui, who was drawing his 5th talisman, was visibly rattled by the commotion. His face switched between green and pale. And at that very moment, a sudden slip of mind struck him. His half-finished 5th talisman exploded. The commotion by Quan Hui drew all the spectators' attention. Meanwhile, I had already started my 5th talisman. A sharp-eyed disciple noticed. I was drawing a top-grade level 1 supportive talisman, and my speed was even faster than with the water arrow talisman. Man, am I dumb? It's just 1 talisman blown up. You really think you still have a shot at beating me? I ignored him, focusing entirely on my 5th talisman. Zheng Ro kept watching me. She was completely confident in her junior, whom she'd been teaching hands on lately. Just then, the recovery talisman I was drawing suddenly formed. I didn't pause, immediately starting my 6th talisman.
He Yuzhou was stunned as well.
As a top-tier level 1 talisman master, not even he could use such speed to successfully draw a low-grade level 1 recovery talisman in so little time. At that moment, Quan Hui, still working on his talisman, really wanted to look up and check, but he had just failed 1 talisman. If he made another mistake by getting distracted, he would truly have no chance at winning. Li Hanyan was utterly broken inside. The incense floating between us was almost burned to the end. Quan Hui's 5th talisman was nearly finished. He forced himself to calm down, added the final stroke, and at last finished his 5th talisman. Lin Bei completed a 6th low-grade level 1 supportive talisman, the light body talisman. Just as he started to draw, Elder Wang's voice rang out. He looked up in surprise, not yet seeing what I had done. What happened? Elder Wang's voice came immediately after. Time's up. This competition is over. Both of you, please leave your desks. Hearing this, I set down my brush and walked to the East Hall. Though Quan Hui couldn't believe it, he still helplessly returned to the South Hall's side. When he saw senior instructor Zhao Huo and met his calm watching gaze, his body couldn't help but tremble. Quan Hui successfully drew 5 low-grade level 1 supportive talismans. Lin Bei successfully drew 4 low-grade level 1 attack talismans and 2 low-grade level 1 supportive talismans. In variety, Lin Bei wins. In difficulty, Lin Bei wins. The final result of this contest, Lin Bei from Dompiantang wins, except for disciples from Nampiantang. All the other disciples shouted out their congratulations, one after another, non-stop. Elder, I report Lin Bei cheated. Hearing this, everyone turned to look, faces full of surprise. Cheating? Then tell me, how could I cheat with everyone watching? Quan Hui, enough nonsense. Losing isn't shameful. Just win next time. Don't lose your path over one match. Remember the rules of our Kingling Immortal sect. Besides, Elder Wang and I personally oversaw this match. How could Lin Bei possibly cheat? If he didn't cheat, how was he able to make a recovery talisman and even a light body talisman, plus that water arrow talisman, all in such a short time? Many disciples' earlier doubts surfaced again. Junior Lin, can you explain yourself? If you can't explain it clearly, then just say I taught you some tricks. That way, they wouldn't dare question me either. Senior sister, he tried several times to step up and help me. But when she saw senior sister Zhang Ro step in, she stopped in her tracks. Looking at the senior sister beside me who was watching out for me, I was truly moved. I decided I had to win some respect for my senior sister. They accused me of cheating. I couldn't even bother to deny it. It's pointless to say things like, I didn't cheat. That's just meaningless. It only wastes everyone's time. Simple, I'll just draw it again. If you can understand, then keep your eyes open and study carefully. If you can't, then so be it. I ignored everyone's reaction and went straight to the desk from earlier. I picked up the talisman brush. My wrist flicked down sharply, and I began to draw rapidly. The brush danced swiftly across the talisman paper, forming the outline of the fortune talisman, at a speed visible to the naked eye. The speed I was drawing at was even smoother than before the match. And even faster, all the temple disciples, and even the outer and inner sect disciples who came to watch the drama, along with the 2 elders, were completely focused on my every move. The entire talisman trial field, at this moment, was so quiet you could hear the scratching of the brush on paper. In less than the time it takes to drink half a cup of tea, a blue glow suddenly erupted from the talisman paper, then quickly faded away. I stopped, and under everyone's incredulous gaze, picked up the water arrow talisman I'd just drawn. Did you see that clearly? In that instant, the entire talisman trial field seemed frozen in time. All eyes were glued to the water arrow talisman in my hand, everyone completely stunned. The silence was absolute. The ones to break the silence first were the disciples from the other halls who came to watch. Earlier, they'd been misled by the Fortune Hall disciples, thinking I'd only passed by pure luck, or, as Quan Hui said, by cheating. But now that I had redrawn it in front of everyone, and succeeded, with a 100% success rate, even the other hall disciples were shocked. The reactions from the Fortune Hall disciples were even greater. Many bold disciples held their breath and squeezed up for a closer look. As first-rank lower-grade talisman masters themselves, they knew exactly how difficult it was to draw a water arrow talisman. But with my brush, it was as easy as eating or drinking water. The speed was astonishing. After their brief shock, the Fortune Hall disciples stared at me with admiration. Zhang Ro and He Yuzhou in the distance both breathed a sigh of relief almost at the same time. Zhang Ro's gaze never left me the entire time. What she felt was only pride and satisfaction. Even the 2 elders were subtly moved at that moment. Their eyes met briefly, and each could see a hint of surprise in the other's eyes. This young man's control over spiritual power is skillful and precise. Such talent among his peers is rare. He has extraordinary aptitude in the fortune path, perhaps even worthy of the inner sect. Quan Hui's expression was terrible. His face was pale as paper, as if all the color had drained from it. Just before, he'd accused me of cheating with certainty, but now look at him. Even though I didn't argue back, my choice to redraw was, The strongest response possible. He looked to acting instructor Brother Zhao Huo again, and seeing him close his eyes tightly,
His heart sank.
just as my junior sister said, I lost this match. As for our previous bet, senior brother will send someone over in the next few days. He turned to leave, his gaze lingering on me for a moment before he left. All the disciples from East Wing Hall came up, surrounding me in the center. On the way back to East Wing Hall, I caught a glimpse of Li Hanyan on the edge of the crowd. Her eyes were blank as she stared at me, her expression very unpleasant. Very soon, news that Lin Bei from East Wing Hall intersects senior sister Zhang Ro, won the bet, spread rapidly through the outer sect, even causing rumors to circulate through the inner sect. But I didn't know any of that. At this moment, I was in senior sister Zhang Ro's private room, with my senior sister happily, giving me a back and shoulder massage. In front of me, senior sister He kept asking about how I drew the fortune talisman earlier. I was enjoying this rare happiness, and occasionally answered their questions, chatting with senior sister He. As for the special technique I revealed today, I'd already thought it through. The pros and cons of it look impressive, but really if others study and share it, it'll only help some talisman masters speed up a bit. Compared to exposing the full strength of a first-rank talisman master, this is the part that's truly incredible. On the contrary, my performance today, in front of some truly skilled craftsmen, was at best just luck. I simply happened to master another drawing technique by accident. Such things aren't all that rare. It's still within their acceptable range. I thought to myself, if it's spread through my senior sister's influence, then it really explains the speed of my uniform making today. So I won't be pestered about it later. Thinking about it, I slowly closed my eyes in this tender atmosphere, quietly enjoying this moment of peace. Unknowingly, I drifted off to sleep. But as I slept, I had no idea at all, because of my earlier nonchalant explanation, the way the two women looked at me had changed. Especially Zhang Ro, her gaze became even more intense. As I fell asleep, Zhang Ro's hands stilled softly. She leaned her body forward slightly, her hands unconsciously intertwined. Her long eyelashes trembled a little. She looked me over from top to bottom, her gaze scanning my tired face. A wave of concern welled up in her heart. Senior sister, he has always been proud and aloof. She was born in the outer sect, daughter of an outer sect elder, with superior conditions, had it not been for her inferior innate spiritual roots. Only having medium-grade fire and wood roots, she wouldn't be staying in the outer sect. So she's always trained hard, hoping to enter foundation establishment soon, and join the inner sect. Until over half a year ago, when I appeared, and broke her understanding of Fu Dao again and again. Looking at my sleeping face, it seemed even she hadn't realized. Her original appreciation of me had changed at that moment. Something like longing quietly grew in her heart. She wanted to get closer to me, to understand me more. When I woke up, it was already close to evening. I got up and looked around, discovering I was still inside senior sister's private room. No one else was nearby. I used a sobering talisman on myself and left straight away, returning to my own place. Ordinary days always pass quickly. In the blink of an eye, several days went by. Ever since I shot to fame in the Fulu trial grounds, I'm already considered a celebrity in the outer sect. Especially the fact I alone have 3 Dao partners, which has been widely talked about among the disciples. In the minds of the Fu Palace disciples, someone as talented as me in Fulu arts should devote all their energy to it. At the very least, keep working hard on cultivation. But instead, I've taken 3 Dao partners in a single year. Isn't that just playing with my own cultivation journey? And my talent? This makes quite a few disciples feel sorry for me. The outer sect's disciples' opinions just make me helpless. But deep down, I don't really care about them. How could ordinary people understand my ambition to reach the heavens? Marrying isn't just about emotions. It's also to help me go further on the path of cultivation. Still, what I do regret is, just like senior sister's private lessons for me are gone, I'm now the same as any other disciple, only able to attend classes at the East Side Hall. But all that aside, in the mornings the others learn first grade low quality Fu Lu. And in the afternoons I get one-on-one teachings on first grade mid quality Fu Lu. With my current status as a first grade low quality talisman maker, I don't actually have to attend classes. But I don't want to give up the free materials from the sect. And I don't want to spend contribution points either, to trade for first grade mid-quality talisman arts. The next morning, I returned once more to the third marketplace. I had long heard from senior sister He that most odd jobs, aside from a few exceptions, are industries owned by outer and even inner sect disciples. But that's not the point today. The key today is my fourth Tao partner. I finally got some news. Recalling what Elder Kian said yesterday, if nothing goes wrong, the girl should be meeting me today. With my current situation, finding a suitable Tao partner in the outer sect wouldn't be impossible. But I have too many family obligations. So outer sect female disciples with spiritual roots aren't really willing. Before I knew it, I'd already walked to the Tao partner agency. Senior brother Lim, you're here, please have a seat. Some freshly brewed spirit tea. Please have a sip first. Yesterday when I received Miss Zhu's reply, I quickly communicated with her side as well. She should be on her way here right now. I nodded slightly and sat down, taking a sip of the spirit tea, quietly considering my options. If everything goes smoothly, today, Zhu He might just become the first Tao partner with spiritual roots of my life. Right after the thought crossed my mind, an anxious figure hurried in. She looked about 19 or 20 years old, her face pale and weary, wearing light green robes, with bright, clear eyes, showing a stubborn determination that refused to yield. Seeing Elder Kian and me, she paused for a moment, then quickly hid her impatience. She stepped forward and bowed respectfully. Senior brother Lin, this is Miss Zhu, He. She joined Kingling Immortal Sect 10 years ago. Her spiritual roots are poor, so she's only been in the odd jobs bureau. But she's very diligent and never slacks off with cultivation. Miss Zhu, this is the senior brother Linbei I mentioned to you yesterday. Lin's roots are just like yours of inferior quality, but he is a first-grade, low-quality talisman master, exceptionally gifted in Fulu. Now he's already an outer sect disciple. Looking at my blind date today, I saw her body tense up, her hands nervously folded on her knees, looking very nervous. I kept a calm expression, still sipping my tea, giving her enough time to steady herself. Elder Kian, ever observant, stood up and poured He a cup of spirit tea, then quietly retreated to the backyard, leaving only us two in the room. Zhu, he quietly cheered herself on inside, then looked up at me sitting in outer sect uniform. Senior brother Lin, Elder Kian has surely told you my situation and what I'm hoping for. Honestly, coming here today, I was still a bit hesitant to believe it. You're just too outstanding. So good I don't dare hope for more. My request has been posted for 2 years now. And you're the first outer disciple willing to meet me. So I just don't understand. Sister Zhu, why are you so intent on joining the outer sect? I made my way to Kingling Immortal Sect by myself at age 10, relying on my own efforts. Thankfully, I had spiritual roots and was accepted as a disciple. But the roots are poor quality. For a whole 10 years, I've been struggling in the odd jobs area to make a living. All those years, to keep up with my cultivation, I worked non-stop on sect tasks day and night, earning contribution points, earning spirit stones, all to raise my cultivation, and join the outer sect, so I can go further on the path of immortality. But even with all my efforts, by age 18, my cultivation had only just reached key condensation level 3, leaving me ineligible to advance to the outer sect. I know I'm of inferior type, with dual spiritual roots not as good as others, and that's something I can't change. But I really don't want to spend my whole life stuck in the odd jobs area. I want to experience the abundant spiritual energy of the outer sect. I want to break through to the mid-stage of key refining, maybe even the late stage of key refining. To achieve my goals, Senior brother Lin, you might be the only chance I'll ever have in this life. He took a deep breath. He took out a small cloth bundle made of coarse fabric from his bosom. He handed it to me. Senior Brother Lin, this is everything I've saved during my 10 years in the sect. Plus, I have 60 additional sect contribution points. Also, I know a bit about identifying spiritual herbs. And I'm a hard worker. Whether it's cleaning up the residence, or organizing resources, or even identifying spiritual herbs later on, I can handle it all. If Senior Brother Lin is willing to become Dao partners with me and bring me into the outer sect, I will definitely uphold my duties, follow the family rules, get along well with the other sisters, and always defer to you in everything. I promise I'll never be any trouble for you. My gaze lingered on the little cloth bundle in her hand for a moment. Then I glanced at the sincerity in her eyes. Before I even came here, I had already decided that as long as any woman with a spiritual root showed up today, and there was nothing wrong with her, I'd have no problem either. After listening to what she had to say, I was even more pleased. I could tell that she wasn't willing to settle for an ordinary life and was determined to improve herself. She's only held back by her spiritual root qualifications, just like me. If I hadn't awakened the system last year, I suppose her goals would be exactly the same as mine. So I totally empathize with her. Keep these things. You and I both have low-grade spiritual roots. I'm just lucky to have a bit of talent in the fortune and luck Dao, which is why I've achieved my current position. That's also the reason I want to marry multiple Dao partners. I'm pinning all my future cultivation hopes on my descendants. I don't have high expectations for Dao partners. Character is the most important thing. I have no issues with junior sister Zhu He. As long as you're willing, I can become your Dao partner anytime. For the rest of our lives, I will also help you on your journey of cultivation. Congratulations, host, on marrying your first Dao partner with a spiritual root. You have gained one chance to spin the lottery. The system's voice sounded again. My expression didn't change. I'm willing, I am. Thank you, Senior Brother Lin. From now on, he and I will never let Senior Brother down. After that, I called over old Qian, paid the matchmaking fee, and even gave him some extra snacks, so he could help organize the wedding at the celebration shop. Although Zuhi insisted it wasn't necessary, things are different nowadays. I'm not short on money. I want to create an image of myself as someone who marries Dao partners for love, laying the groundwork for the great cause of marrying more Dao partners in the future. Soon, Zuhi and I parted ways at the Dao Partner Introduction Agency. As I was leaving, I gave him a message talisman sub-talisman. I had to let the 3 women at home know everything that happened here. Even if they wouldn't mind, I did make a promise when I married them. Whether or not I marry again in the future, I would always talk to them about it. As expected, none of the 3 women objected to me remarrying again.
Especially
when they heard that the new sister I was bringing them this time was also a woman with a spiritual root. They were all happy for me. After spending some time with the 3 women, I also hung out with Lin Ping'an for a while. I then excused myself to go work on some fortune drawings and returned to my main room. The first thing I had to do was use the lottery. I was so full of anticipation for this draw. The wheel and the pointer stopped at the same time. The pointer landed on the treasures category. Congratulations, host, you've obtained the Concealing Aura Technique Ring. The Concealing Aura Technique Ring is a low-grade spiritual artifact. It's made with gold and purple rings as the base, and crafted mainly from wood, iron sand, and golden sand. It can be bonded by a drop of blood. It can hide your spiritual power and cultivation from anyone below the nascent soul stage. Hearing that, my pupils froze. I couldn't hide my excitement. This is amazing. I was just worrying about how to further hide my breakthrough to the 5th level of key refining. Lately, I've been afraid to cultivate on my own. It's all because of that superb grade spirit gathering pill earlier. One little mistake took my cultivation from key refining level 3 to breaking through to level 4 and almost pushed me to the threshold of level 5. But I'm just a low-grade spiritual root. At first, I could explain getting lucky with some fortune blessings. and managed to reach key refining level 4. But it's only been about 4 months since then. If I broke through to level 5 so soon, there'd be no way to explain it. If someone started paying attention to me, problems would definitely arise. So I haven't dared to cultivate for a while, afraid I might accidentally break through to level 5. Just when I was at a loss, the system arrived. And I even drew such a perfectly matched treasure. I put the ring on my left index finger, focused my mind, and the ring gradually disappeared from my hand, as if I'd never put it on. I couldn't wait to sit down cross-legged. I activated the yin-yang technique and began condensing the 5th black and white vortex. Key refining level 5, breakthrough complete. The 5th strand of black and white spiritual energy in my danshan was fully formed. My cultivation had reached the 5th level of key refining. It took me 18 years just to get to level 3 key refining before. But now with the system, it barely took a year to hit level 5. The road of cultivation really is a long one. I tried using the concealing aura technique ring on my hand to hide my cultivation level. The spiritual power in my danshan shrank and was instantly drawn into the ring. My cultivation at the 5th level of key refining dropped down to the 4th level in an instant. Then I tried deactivating the concealment. The black and white energy from level 5 that had been absorbed reappeared inside my body. My danshan's cultivation was restored to level 5. I tried this several times and breathed a sigh of relief. The ring can conceal my cultivation, hiding it at whatever stage I want, by drawing out the excess cultivation into itself, storing it inside. Undoing or activating the concealment is almost instantaneous.